Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I thought I would make a video about Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. There's a lot of controversy going on about this book and obviously I had to give it a read. I love Harry Potter and so obviously I was really excited for this release. I was a bit skeptical because I don't really think that there should be any more stories after Deathly Hallows. I think that you should just leave a good story alone and just leave it and just have it. I was pretty happy with the ending. So I have some issues with the book and I'm going to talk through them, so if you haven't actually read the book or finished reading it, please click away right now. I'm waiting for you to click away. Okay, if you have not clicked away and you're still watching and you haven't read it, then it's not my fault for spoiling it for you. So we start off with the book and it starts off with where Deathly Hallows ended with the beginning scene. That was completely fine. I was like, cool, this is familiar. And it seems like J.K. Rowling's writing, because it is. But as you go on through the book, it sounds less and less like J.K. Rowling's writing, and I don't know if that's just me. It feels more like a fan fiction writing, like just the way they keep repeating themselves and the way all the characters seem to have the same kind of personality to me. Like, other than Albus and Scorpius. Like Scorpius I really liked, loved him, thought he was amazing, and Albus kind of pissed me off a little bit. And even Harry, like, I don't like how she made Harry out to be a bad dad in this, and I just thought that was really out of character and so not like him, and it just seemed really weird. And the whole prophecy thing about him being a bad dad will bring about the return of Voldemort, and I really didn't like it, and I just thought, just leave Voldemort out of it, just leave it alone. I thought maybe this would be a story about something else, or a new villain coming in, or a Death Eater rising up to take his place or something, but instead they had to bring back the whole Voldemort storyline, and I can't even tell you how mad I was about the whole Bellatrix being pregnant thing, but I'll get to that in a minute. Now, the scene with the trolley witch I did not like. They're on the train, and they're on top of the train, and they're trying to get off so that they can escape to go find the time turner, which Hermione's hid. And suddenly the trolley lady is on top of the train, and I know it's magic and everything, but I was just like, what the fuck? And she comes on top of the train and she starts going on and on about how no one has ever escaped past her for years and years, and it's impossible and no one will ever get off the train. And then 2 seconds later they just do one spell. What spell is it? Let me see. Anyway, they do just one spell and all of a sudden it's like, oh, we've done it, we've escaped, and then they jump off the train or do something off the train. It wasn't really clear to me, maybe I didn't read it properly, and suddenly they've escaped her with just one spell, even though it's supposedly so hard to get off the train. Also the fact that she turned into some kind of creature or some shit, I was just like, that sweet old lady from Philosopher's Stone? I don't know, I didn't like that very much, and I just thought that was stupid. And why make a big deal out of no one can get off the train if it's that easy to just use one spell? A bunch of fourth years can figure it out. I was just a bit like, really? Okay, let's talk about the whole Bellatrix being pregnant. I was so pissed off about that. Like, when they started off with the rumour about Scorpius being Voldemort's son, I was like, that's so ridiculous and stupid, it makes no sense. Why would anyone believe such a rumour, and what the fuck? And I was like, great, foreshadowing, he's either going to be his son or there's going to be someone else. And thankfully it wasn't him, because I thought that makes no sense. Like, if you look at him in the end of the Deathly Hallows film, he looks just like Draco and it just makes no sense. I just thought it was really stupid that they expect us to believe that Bellatrix was somehow pregnant with Voldemort's baby before the Battle of Hogwarts, so the Half-Blood Prince, somewhere between then and the Deathly Hallows and the battle, she was somehow secretly pregnant and then gave birth to Voldemort's daughter. First of all, can Voldemort even reproduce? Like, I didn't think he would be able to, and he's not capable of love, surely, because he's so fucked up. So him being romantically involved with anyone just seems stupid to me, and I've read Bellatrix Voldemort fan fictions before when I was a teenager, because, you know, I used to read fan fiction, and I was just like, no, like, this would never happen. J.K. Rowling would never do that. And the fact that they actually did, like, no, just no, I didn't believe it. It sounded like fan fiction. I believe that Bellatrix had feelings for Voldemort, but, like, just no. And even if he wasn't romantically in love with her or anything, like, can you imagine Voldemort, like, no. I just no, I didn't like that at all. I didn't like the whole Voldemort having a child. Some people pointed out that it was so that he could live on if all his Horcruxes got destroyed, but that's just ridiculous, like, that's just ridiculous. I'm sorry, but it is. And I didn't like that at all. I thought that was just so fanfiction writing. I was like, what, am I reading Breaking Dawn again? Like, I love Breaking Dawn, but the whole her getting pregnant thing at first, I was a bit like, what the hell? Anyway, I'm sidetracking. It was just like, I really didn't like that at all, and that's just my opinion. The fact that okay, so supposedly they go back in time to save Cedric, which I don't know why it focused on this. I was like, what the fuck? Like, shouldn't his dad kind of be over it by now and should have forgiven Harry and know that it's not his fault? And I just don't know. And everyone knows not to go back in time and meddle with time because it will affect the future. And I get that, and the whole idea of it is kind of cool, I guess, but it's just so unneeded. Like, the story didn't need to be told, and just the whole Cedric turning evil because they embarrassed him with a charm at the Triwizard Tournament, like, no, that completely goes against his character. Why would that lead to him being a Death Eater? Like, they didn't explain that very well, and I just thought that was a bit stupid, because I can't ever imagine Cedric Diggory turning into a Death Eater and then killing Neville. Like, it just seemed ridiculous. The whole time turner thing as well, like, J.K. Rowling always replied to tweets and stuff and was like, people were like, why didn't they go back in time and kill Voldemort as a baby, blah blah blah. And she always justified her answers and said, you know, the time turners had all been destroyed and meddling with magic is dangerous and blah 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 blah. And then she goes and brings back the time turners. I just didn't like that at all. Like, she brought back the time turners, made them stupidly go back in time to save a character that Albus and Scorpius had never even met. It just seemed like really flawed reasoning for them to even be involved in the first place. Like, why would Harry's kids even give a shit? Do you know what I mean? I know he was trying to impress Harry and stuff to prove he wasn't just a crappy Slytherin or whatever, but that just seemed ridiculous to me. They just didn't have enough motive to go back in time and do that. And I just thought it was such flawed logic for them to think that they could do that and not affect time in the future. I don't know. I know they're only 14 in it, but still, it really pissed me off. I just think there were so many, like, it just seemed like fan fiction the whole time, and it just seemed like a story that did not need to be told. And the fact that they had Albus had one of his friends or school people die in front of him, just like Harry had Cedric die in front of him in his 4th year, and that's how they essentially bond in the end and sort out their issues. I didn't like that either. I just thought it was just so fanfiction writing, and I didn't like it. Maybe as a production on stage it would be more pleasing to watch and more entertaining. And I was thinking the whole time I was reading it, how are they going to do all these special effects and stuff? Like, that must be an amazing play. And I can imagine it would be entertaining, but I just wouldn't accept this script to be an actual story, and I'm not going to think of this as how the future ends up. Like, I'd like to keep it to my imagination. I was okay with J.K. Rowling telling us things about their futures and stuff, like small facts and stuff. I kind of liked thinking to myself about what happened to the characters and using my own imagination. Like, I feel like we didn't need to know. And Albus being in Slytherin was just so predictable. Everyone always, after Deathly Hallow came out, I remember everyone was making memes on the internet of Albus being in Slytherin, being like, oh, it'd be so cool if Potter was in Slytherin, the first Potter boy in Slytherin, and everyone thought it would be a cool idea, and so did I, and I thought that was pretty exciting. But when I read the book and he turned out to be in Slytherin, I was like, predictable. It just seemed like she got most of her ideas from fanfiction or something. It was just really bad writing, and I feel like J.K. Rowling wasn't involved as much as she made out to be. Like, I feel like this was more written by Jack Thorne than it was J.K. Rowling. Like, it didn't seem like her work. I've always thought she's a genius writer, and just how spot on she got the whole time turner thing in Prisoner of Azkaban, like the way it all synced up and it affected the future and stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, the logic in Harry Potter is more genius and just so well thought out, and she's got every detail down, and there's hardly any plot holes, and if there was, she could explain them. But with this, it's like plot hole, plot hole, plot hole, plot hole, and I just felt like, what am I reading right now? Like, I tried to convince myself that I enjoyed the book after I finished, and I was like, no, I actually didn't. Like, because I love Harry Potter so much, I tried to convince myself that I enjoyed the book, but I really didn't. And when I went online and saw that other people weren't liking it, I was really relieved and thankful, and I was like, thank God I'm not the only one that hated it. I'm glad I bought it, and I'm glad I read it. It would have been better to read if I was younger, I think. Because, just to me, I just don't think that this was a story that needed to happen. I think it should have been left alone. Leave Harry Potter the way it is. I'm fine with Fantastic Beasts, and I will probably go and see that, because that's a story told before, and it seems interesting, and it's a story that you'd actually want to know, and it's like wizarding history and stuff. Whereas this was just a story that didn't need to happen. Like, at the end of Deathly Hallows it says all was well, or all is well, and it's like, yeah, just leave it there. Leave it. Do you know what I mean? And the whole Albus being bullied at school because he's a Potter in Slytherin, I just thought that was stupid. Like, would people really care that much? And would they really bully him that much when Harry Potter saved the world? And just because his son is in a certain house, like, I thought at the end of Deathly Hallows it seemed like everyone didn't care what house you're in. Like, you can still be brave, like Snape. You can still be a brave, good person if you're in Slytherin. Like, it doesn't I can't even talk. It doesn't determine who you are. Do you know what I mean? Like, when you're in Slytherin, whether you're in Slytherin, Gryffindor, it's not as black and white as good and bad. Like, I thought the whole war thing would have cleared people's minds and been like, actually, Slytherins can be good too. I mean, Team Slytherin. And I was just like, really, people are still prejudiced towards Slytherins, and kids really care that much about Albus Potter being in Slytherin? Really? 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 It just seems so stupid. And the fact that, what's her name? The fact that Rose pushed him away, and they're like, oh, I have to pretend to talk to you in front of the grown-ups when we get to school. I can't talk to you anymore because you're a Slytherin and you're not cool, and blah blah blah. And it's like, I just didn't like that at all, and I didn't like Rose's character that much. She reminded me of young Hermione, but worse. Like, I couldn't tolerate her at all. Young Hermione, I liked her bossiness, whereas Rose, I just didn't. Everyone's going on about how it seemed like Scorpius and Albus were going to get together. I do agree that is the way they wrote it. It seemed like fanfiction boy-on-boy stuff, and it would have been cool. However, I did see the whole him and Rose thing coming, because on the train he's like stuttering and shit, and when he said something about her smelling like bread or something, and she gets snappy at him, I thought he was really cute, and it would be cool for him to get together with Rose, because it's kind of like the whole Draco Hermione shipping thing. It's something that I would have liked to imagine by myself and wouldn't have needed to happen as a book carried on from Harry Potter. Do you know what I mean? Albus and Scorpius being together would have been cool, and people are getting mad about it, that they made it seem like they were going to have a gay couple, and then suddenly out of nowhere Rose and Scorpius got together, but I thought it was quite clear that Rose and Scorpius were going to get together from the beginning. Just the characters. Ron I thought was just there for comedic relief, which he was a lot more in Harry Potter than just a funny guy. Like, he seemed more like Fred and George, like he was just there for comedy. That was a bit annoying. Hermione seemed dumbed down. Like, why would she hide the time turner in... I just didn't like... I thought Hermione would, like, destroy a time turner because she knows it's dangerous and shit, and people can go back in time and bring back Voldemort or mess up the timeline, and... Or if she did lock it away, she'd do more than just hide it in a freaking library with a couple of riddles that some 14-year-olds can figure out. Do you know what I mean? I haven't seen the play, so maybe the play is magical and you'll love it, but the tickets are hard to get hold of, and to be honest, I probably wouldn't pay to go see it. Personally, even though I love Harry Potter and missed the films and missed the books, I would be happier if it was left alone and we could just enjoy Harry Potter the way it was. I feel like this was a big hateful video, but it wasn't intended to be that way. This is just my opinion, and personally I didn't like it that much, and it was a good read, but I just, being a big fan of Harry Potter, just the fact that things like the Time Turners had come back and the whole baby thing, to me it just felt like it was written entirely by Jack Thorne and not J.K. Rowling, because it was very... I don't know, maybe it's because it's a play and it's too rushed and it goes through years quickly and it's a lot speedier and easier to read. Like, it only took me like 5 hours probably to read it. Maybe that's why I didn't like it that much. Maybe if it was in book form it would make more sense if they could explain things in more detail and explain plot holes and things like that and make it seem more realistic, but to me, I just no. I'm sorry if I offended anyone. I hope I didn't. I didn't mean to offend anyone, but if you agree, give this video a like. If you don't, you can dislike it if you want. I'm just giving my opinion, and honestly, I would say go and read it. Have your own opinion, because some people really did enjoy it. Me, personally, being a huge Harry Potter fan, I didn't enjoy this. But I'm not too mad about it, because as a play, I can dismiss it like I'm like, it doesn't really count, it's a story. So I would say go buy it if you want, give it a read, see what you think. A lot of people are giving it great reviews for the play, saying that the play is amazing and the casting was amazing and the actors are amazing, and I'm sure they are, so maybe try and get tickets or something. But I'm hoping one day they release the play on DVD or something, and then that way I could see if I enjoy it more. I would say I don't regret buying it and reading it, because as a fan of Harry Potter I had to. Just, before you read it, just remember that it's different to the books, and it's a play, and it's just a story that, it's just an add-on story that if you don't read it, you're not missing out, to be honest. I liked Scorpius. I thought he was cute. He was cute, and I did like Scorpius a lot. Albus pissed me off, but Scorpius I liked a lot. He was very cute and just funny, and he reminded me of Ron a little bit when he was younger. I'd say Scorpius is the best thing about the book. But if you agree, give it a like, blah 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 blah. Okay, I better go. Like, comment, subscribe, leave your opinion downstairs, down below, and see you next week. Bye.